The bitter January wind howled through the pine trees surrounding the Northern Lights Wildlife Shelter in Burlington, Vermont, carrying snowflakes that danced like tiny stars before settling on the frozen ground. Inside one of the shelter's heated enclosures, Sarah Mitchell, known to her colleagues as the Wolf Whisperer, watched with bated breath as a rescued timber wolf gave birth to 5 tiny pups. The mother wolf, found injured near Lake Champlain just weeks earlier, had recovered enough to deliver her litter, though her wild eyes still held traces of fear and uncertainty. For Sarah, this moment represented both triumph and challenge. At 42, she had dedicated the past 15 years to wildlife rehabilitation, specializing in canids. Her gentle demeanor and infinite patience had earned her the trust of countless animals, but wolves held a special place in her heart. She understood their complexity, their fierce independence tempered by unwavering loyalty to their pack, their raw power balanced by surprising tenderness. The first 2 days passed in a blur of careful monitoring and cautious optimism. The mother wolf, whom they had named Luna, seemed to be adjusting well to motherhood, nursing and cleaning her pups with natural instinct. But on the third morning, as heavy snow blanketed Burlington in pristine white, everything changed. Sarah arrived for her early shift, stamping snow from her boots when she heard it, the unmistakable sound of distressed pup squeals echoing through the shelter's corridors. Racing to the enclosure, her heart sank. Luna had retreated to the furthest corner, her body language clearly communicating rejection of her litter. The 5 pups, barely larger than guinea pigs, lay huddled together in a desperate attempt to stay warm. Sarah immediately called Dr. James Cooper, the shelter's veterinarian. "We've seen this before," Dr. Cooper said grimly as they carefully gathered the frigid pups. "Sometimes the trauma is too much. They'll need round-the-clock care if they're going to make it." The smallest pup, a female with distinctive white markings on her chest, caught Sarah's attention. While her siblings whimpered weakly, this tiny wolf fought with surprising vigor, pushing against Sarah's warm hands with determination. "This one's a fighter," Sarah whispered, feeling an immediate connection to the spirited pup. What followed was an exhausting marathon of dedication. Sarah obtained special formula designed for wolf pups in tiny bottles that required careful handling. Every 2 hours, day and night, she fed each pup, gently massaging their bellies afterward to aid digestion. The shelter's director, understanding the gravity of the situation, granted Sarah permission to set up a temporary living space near the nursery. These long nights meant seeing less of her son Tommy, a bright and compassionate 7-year-old who lived primarily with Sarah since her amicable divorce 2 years earlier. When she did make it home, Tommy's father, Michael, would drop him off, and the boy would pepper her with questions about the pups. His enthusiasm was infectious, and soon he was begging to visit. "Please, Mom, I promise I'll be super quiet and careful." Sarah couldn't resist his pleading brown eyes, so similar to her own. After consulting with Dr. Cooper, she arranged for Tommy to visit during a feeding session. The moment he walked into the nursery, his face lit up with wonder. The pups were 2 weeks old now, their eyes just beginning to open, their bodies stronger though still desperately vulnerable. "Can I help?" Tommy whispered, watching in fascination as Sarah prepared the bottles. "You can hold this one while I feed her," Sarah said, carefully placing the smallest pup, the fighter, in his lap. The pup, whom Tommy immediately dubbed Spirit for her fierce personality, snuggled against him, seeking warmth. "She likes me," Tommy exclaimed softly, his smile radiant. As the weeks passed, the pups grew stronger under Sarah's care. The shelter began making plans for their futures. 2 males were transferred to a specialized facility in Maine that ran a breeding program for endangered wolf populations. 2 of the females showed promising signs for eventual rehabilitation and release into protected wilderness areas. But Spirit was different. From the beginning, she displayed an unusual comfort with human presence. She recognized Sarah's voice, responding with tiny howls when she entered the room. She sought out interaction, pressing against the enclosure walls when people passed by, showing none of the natural wariness her siblings displayed. Sarah found herself facing a difficult decision. Spirit's unusual behavior meant she might never adapt to true wild living, yet the idea of confining her to a traditional sanctuary felt wrong. After lengthy discussions with Dr. Cooper, the shelter's behavioral specialists, and most importantly, Tommy, Sarah began considering an unprecedented option, adopting Spirit herself. The process wasn't simple. Sarah had to obtain special permits, undergo additional training, and modify her home to accommodate a wolf. She also had serious discussions with Tommy about the responsibility they were undertaking. "Spirit won't be like a regular dog," she explained. "She'll need special care, lots of exercise, and will have to be very patient as she adjusts." "I know, Mom," Tommy replied with surprising maturity, "but she's already family, isn't she?" The day they brought Spirit home to their ground-floor apartment near Burlington's Intervale Nature Area, Sarah's heart was racing with equal parts excitement and anxiety. They had prepared extensively, setting up a secure space, installing special barriers, and acquiring appropriate equipment, including a sturdy leash and protective gear. The first night was challenging. Spirit paced restlessly, startled by every unfamiliar sound. The whoosh of the heating system, the distant rumble of traffic, the voices of neighbors all seemed to unsettle her. But as dawn approached, something remarkable happened. Spirit padded over to Sarah's bed where she lay pretending to sleep, and after a moment's hesitation, curled up beside it with a soft sigh. Tommy, who had insisted on camping out in his sleeping bag nearby, reached out to gently stroke her fur. "See, Mom, she knows she's home." The following months brought both challenges and joys. Sarah began Spirit's urban adaptation with pre-dawn walks when the streets were quietest. Tommy proved to be a natural animal trainer, spending hours playing with Spirit, gradually introducing her to new experiences. He would sit on their small patio, reading his school books aloud to her, helping her become accustomed to human vocabulary and tones. An unexpected breakthrough came during a morning walk when they encountered Mrs. Peterson from the second floor walking her dachshund Oscar. Sarah tensed, ready to create distance, but Spirit surprised them all by lying down, belly exposed. A clear submission signal. Oscar, after initial hesitation, wagged his tail and approached carefully. From that day forward, Spirit showed increasing comfort around other dogs, even forming a special friendship with a husky named Luna, coincidentally sharing a name with her birth mother from the local dog park. The family's weekend excursions to the Green Mountains became Spirit's greatest joy. In those wild spaces she could run freely, her powerful body moving with natural grace. Yet she never strayed far, always returning to Sarah's whistle or Tommy's call. These outings revealed the beautiful duality of her nature, the wild wolf's instincts harmoniously blended with the loyal companion's heart. This balance proved invaluable during a spring hiking trip when Tommy, exploring ahead on a marked trail, failed to notice a washout hidden by early spring growth. Spirit's reaction was instantaneous. She lunged forward, positioning her body to break his fall and guiding him away from the edge. Later that summer, during a camping trip near Smuggler's Notch, her protective instincts emerged again when her deep, warning growl alerted the family to a black bear investigating their campsite. Spirit stood her ground, her presence enough to convince the bear to seek easier pickings elsewhere. As Spirit matured, she developed an uncanny ability to read human emotions and respond appropriately. When Tommy was sick with flu, she remained by his bedside, only leaving to eat or for necessary breaks. If Sarah had a difficult day at work, Spirit would press against her legs, offering silent comfort. She learned to open the patio door herself, would bring her leash when she needed a walk, and developed an endearing habit of singing along with distant sirens, her harmonious howls a reminder of her wild heritage. Her presence in the neighborhood became something of a local legend. Children would point in wonder at the dog that looks like a wolf, and adults would often stop to ask questions. Spirit handled the attention with remarkable patience, though she clearly preferred the quiet company of her chosen family. Perhaps most remarkable was her gentleness with children. During visits to the local park, she seemed to instinctively understand which children were afraid, giving them wide berth, and which were interested. Allowing careful approaches under Sarah's supervision, she became a regular visitor at Tommy's school's educational programs, helping children learn about wildlife conservation and the importance of protecting wolf populations. 5 years after that snowy night when Spirit fought for survival, Sarah watched her playing with Tommy in their backyard. The scrawny pup had grown into a magnificent adult wolf, her silver-gray coat gleaming in the summer sun, her amber eyes bright with intelligence and trust. She had defied every expectation, proving that with love, patience, and understanding, the bridge between wild and domestic could be crossed. Spirit's story became more than just a tale of survival. It was a testament to the extraordinary bonds that can form between species when given the chance to flourish. She helped Sarah and Tommy heal from their own past hurts, bringing new purpose and joy to their lives. In return, they gave her something equally precious, a family that accepted and celebrated both her wild spirit and her gentle heart. In quiet moments, Sarah often reflected on the twist of fate that brought Spirit into their lives. The tiny pup who fought so hard to survive had grown into a reminder that love knows no boundaries, that family isn't defined by species, and that sometimes the most meaningful connections come in unexpected forms. Spirit was living proof that every creature, given the chance, could find its own unique way to belong. As the sun set over the green mountains, Spirit lifted her head and let out a soft howl, not one of loneliness or longing, but one of contentment, of being exactly where she was meant to be. Tommy joined in with his own playful attempt at a howl, making Sarah laugh. In this moment, watching her son and their wolf companion, Sarah knew with absolute certainty that some animals, like some people, come into our lives not by chance, but by destiny.